was without a doubt the biggest story in the world. And I'll tell you what, if I were to do this over again, I would watch The Crown before the wedding. I'm only watching it now. Should have watched it before. For some insight on what Meghan Markle should expect when it comes to etiquette, I'm joined by the etiquette expert himself, William Hanson. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, John.
We decided that we needed to do a mix of fun and more serious stories because this is a fun story. It's a wedding. It's about love.
And when we drink, we look into the cup, not over it.
I learned from an etiquette expert here in London about royal etiquette and what the new Duchess, Meghan, was going to have to learn before having tea with the Queen, which was great fun.
Keeping a straight back and then returning the cup to the saucer.
No matter whatever serious piece of journalism I do, to this day it is the one thing that most people come up to me and say, "Hey, you did that tea thing." Yeah, I did. Generally, bets are placed on sports like horse racing or soccer, but bookmakers also accept bets on royal events. We also did a story about all the wild bets that people were placing. Would Meghan wear white? Would Harry have a beard the day of his wedding? And it always blows me away, these things that people here in Britain will put money down on.
The plan on the day is based on the work beforehand.
We also did a bit of a deep dive on the security situation in Windsor. And when you see things like this, what kind of challenge does that pose? The security was going to be the main cost for British taxpayers, and that in and of itself was controversial. Here it is, the site of the most highly anticipated wedding in Britain in years, St. George's Chapel. In the days leading up to the wedding, we had an opportunity to be one of the few media crews allowed inside St. George's Chapel. I'll tell you what, walking inside this chapel, you really get a sense that you're walking into history. The newlyweds can expect to be greeted by crowds as they walk out, but should we expect to see a kiss on these steps? Maybe. The day of the wedding, we left the bureau here in London, I believe it was at 4 o'clock in the morning, and drove to Windsor. Got there just as the sun was coming up. It was about 5 o'clock in the morning. Already the crowds were gathering around Windsor Castle to get the best spot to view the newlyweds as they were going to be taking part in their carriage procession after the wedding. Hello, Adrian. A beautiful sunny day out here on the long walk. People just taking in the sun, waiting for that. It turned out to be, by English standards, just a stunning day. In this sea of humanity, we've spotted Diane because of her Invictus Games sweater, Orlando 2016. What's the story there? One of the early interviews we did on that day was with a young woman who had seen Prince Harry at the Invictus Games, which is his event that he holds every year for wounded servicemen and women.
I actually met Prince Harry there. I was very, very thrilled.
It struck me throughout the day that every single person there who we spoke to, in one way or another, had been touched, especially by Harry's life and what he has done over the years. The highlight for me was at the very end of the carriage procession when the newlyweds were heading toward Windsor Castle and the crowd of thousands upon thousands on the long walk were cheering them on. This was the moment that they had waited hours upon hours for. Some people had been there all night or before the sun came up, and this was the moment they wanted, the moment that the newlyweds were going to ride by in their horse-drawn carriage. Being there, witnessing this wedding day, you really do get a sense that you're witnessing living history. It's rare to be able to witness something that is such a continuation of centuries of history. And I hope viewers got that sense if they watched our coverage on that day.